Welcome to the fourth episode of Chess Concepts for Beginners. Now, if we want to get up of 500 ELO, you should do tactics, you should practice your visualization. And now we will look at one of my games when I was a 400 ELO player around 2 years ago. Now I'm 2000. So the game starts with d4, d5, e3, e6, typical 400 ELO stuff here. Defending the center pawn, opening, defending the center pawn again. You know, we normally see knights develop the most recently, but I play queen f6. Now, queen f6 here is not a good move because the opponent could play knight f3 followed by e4 and bishop g5. Down the line, bishop g5 is being played, and then you have to move the queen again, and it will get trapped. White plays knight to h3, and you should not put your knights in the rim in the opening because they could be taken with bishops, damaged pawn structures as well, and limited ability to go forward. I play knight c6, developing the knight very, very nicely. Now I attack in the center when I can. Now, the computer says that this pawn could be captured, but Black could get development quickly, attack the queen again. White castles. Now, here you need to take some time to think, look at all your options. You have knight h6. You also have bishop takes h3. And the concept here is that you should damage your opponent's structure and open up the king. This is very, very good. Like, you will develop the bishops, knights, start a quick attack, take this pawn later on, since it's weak. Very good attack for black here. But, I don't see it. I developed the knight instead, at defending the pawn. Queen a4 check. After bishop d7, the queen has to move again. So that's why queen a4 check is not a good move. But instead I play c6, defending this pawn chain. Knight f4 happens. I play knight to f5, developing the knight, getting some attack here. There is knight takes d5 since the pawn is pinned, but they don't see it. That's too difficult to find. Instead, white goes b4. In order to improve as well, you should not start pawn pushes for no reason. This pawn only currently restricts the t-squares, but the bishop is not going to c5, it's going to d6. My next move is d6, and after white plays b5, I can just castle. If they take, I take back, and there is just nothing. White only pushed the pawn 3 times, and I got to develop the bishop and castle. That's why black is better here. But I take the pawn on b5, which is also a bad move because it allows the opponent to develop with the bishop with check, and now I have to block. He could take. Don't allow your opponents to develop. You can just castle. Takes. Now queen takes. Now here also, don't be afraid to lose a pawn, because when you castle, everything is defended at the end of the day, and you can lose this pawn as well and threaten some checkmate down the road. For example, bishop to b2, there is knight check and mate. One of the combinations you get in tactics. And for example, if they play knight d2, defending this, now you can start attacking the queen. Take your time here, attack the queen. If they take this pawn, you can, for example, attack them at the same time and threaten checkmate. Something very, very difficult to find in the game, but if you take your time, look at your opponent's moves with the queen, you could trap it. Now here knight takes d5 happens because I played knight d7. I was afraid. Now knight takes d5 happened. And now here I play queen e5. Very sneaky move because we are now threatening checkmate. The opponent doesn't find it. They had to play g3, f4, or knight f4. They play a4, start another pawn push, not developing any piece or stopping checkmate. I don't see it. Again, here your visualization has to see that you have many legal moves here. Knight would go there, bishop could look there, back, and there. Again with the queen, so that's why it's a free pawn. So a5 here happens, and I don't see the checkmate again. Sadly, I want to develop the bishop to b7, which is not a bad idea. But now happens f4, and now white is back in the game. Queen e8, bishop d1. Some weird moves happen here, like don't go backwards with your bishops, develop the knight, go forward with your pieces. And also don't go back there as well with the queen. Now black here has a lot of central control, can go to queen e4, attack this knight, and it's tough to find an answer for white here. But I play bishop e7, that's fine as well, aiming at that king. Queen g4, counter-attacking the knight, and I defend it with g6, very good outpost now. e4, again, it's not attacking the knight because it could be captured. You don't have to make your opponents look like Magnus Carlsen here. I play knight h6, attacking the queen, and now here, just a bonus, a very, very cool and difficult tactic to find, which is queen takes knight, and you get it back, and you're up a knight here. That tactic, sacrificing the queen to get a knight. But it's difficult, so they go h4, attack the knight again, get control of the square, king g7. Now they develop the knight. That's good for black. That's good for white. Here I find the best moves. I take the knight and I give check. Now I find a queen rotation to give a check. Here you should also look at checks. If rook blocks, as he did, you should also not pin your rooks or pieces to your king, because now I have this check. If I had looked for another check, I would have probably won their queen, or if knight f1, I would have won this bishop. That's right. But I instead take this pawn, which was delicately hanging, attacking the rook, and now the bishop. Many pieces are under attack. The opponent is desperate now and goes for their attack of their own, hanging the rook. And after rook h3, black now has to act accurately, because rook h3 indicates that there is now severe pressure on my king. I cannot save both my pawn or my knight. That's the truth. I have to move the knight and accept that after they take the pawn, I get away. But no, I spent 4 seconds here, and after they take the knight, I now start to think and blunder checkmate in 1. That's not how you play chess. If they play rook h3, you definitely have to look that it was intended for something. The pieces are there, they're looking down towards the king. So you have to pay attention to this side of the board. I did not. I definitely just ignored that move and decided to take the bishop. But even then, if knight is taken, I can go to king f6. And now white has to force a draw. But I don't think 400 see a draw by repetition. But instead, I go to g8 and blunder checkmate. Now, definitely do your tactics and practice visualization. I will put the trainer down in the description below. I don't own it. I think it's just a really good trainer website. So to recap this game, the opening was fine, except for queen f6 and knight h3. Those were the major weaknesses here. And also this check, because after I block, the queen has to move again. Okay, this happens, and now b4, b5 is not good because black got development. Black got development for the 2 pawn pushes that like turned out to be nothing at the end of the day. Also look at your checkmates. Now, you have to practice your visualization. You can do this simply by doing tactics and simply reviewing your games just as I am doing. A5 happens, another checkmate missed. But another concept here is that you should not bring your pieces back and allow your opponent to have space. I played there. This was very good part. Now again, visualization, taking free stuff. This part here was good. This part here was good as well. Calculating checks, captures, attacks. I have no checks here, but I have captures. Very good. Now I have another check. Very good. Activating two pieces and taking free stuff. This would have been a good check, but I did capture. Another capture. And now here, an important lesson here. When you have checks, captures, attacks, you don't have a check here. I mean, you do, but at the end of the day, you still have a capture here. You should not do a capture because you have to calculate your opponent's checks, captures, attacks. If you take this bishop, which is your capture, you allow your opponent to capture as well, and now you're in more trouble if you had just defended correctly. That's why it was difficult for 400 me to see that taking care of this problem was better than taking this bishop and just simply move the knight and move the king outwards was the best option here. But I got lower on the clock and I blundered checkmate. One nice game to take a pause, look at, and go to game review, like analyze what was wrong, because there was a lot of wrong in this game. If you like this video, make sure to subscribe and I will do more. So see ya.